As we know, starting from the structural crisis of the 1970s, capitalism has undergone uh, deep restructuring in its functioning and its production landscape. The 1970s capitalist crisis marked a turning point also in agriculture, and an increasing number of scholars began observing that a deep agrarian restructuring has begun across the globe, with the introduction of a set of policies aimed at broadening and deepening the market imperatives, and that important transformation have occurred in the way food has been produced since the 1970s onwards. Within this framework, Italian agriculture too underwent a deep process of restructuring marked by the rise of agricultural commodity chains that year in Italy, as elsewhere in the world, has taken a clear buyer-driven shape. In fact, the super and hypermarkets have become the dominant players in the food chains. They control the bulk of the Italian agri-food markets, about 75%, and they have their own distribution centers, while wholesale markets are increasingly experiencing a substantial downsizing. So being placed within supermarket-driven agri-food chains is increasingly becoming a vital issue for farmers. Farmers that here in central Italy are mainly small-scale farmers. More than 60% have no more than 2 hectares of land. Most food retailers increasingly engages in a closer relationship with their food suppliers, and through this direct incorporation of the productive base, leading firms can secure access to food products meeting desired levels of quality and quantity. The growing dominance of large retailers able to capture greater market share and source products directly from farmers enables them to impose strict requirements on producers. Agriculture production in Italy is evolving into a highly demanding production, and farmers put in place their own strategies to maintain their position and profitability within this increasingly demanding supply chain. The reorganization of Italian agriculture in increasingly demanding retailer-driven agri-food chains has had significant effects and impacts on the production base. The considerable rise in risk, pressures, and cost of production, along with increasing competition, poses a serious threat to profit margins of farmers. They are continuously required to invest in upgrading in order to keep themselves integrated into the increasingly demanding agri-food chains. Hence, although farm gate prices decrease as a result of both competition and their little bargaining power, the need to invest in quality, productivity, and production efficiency rises. In order to resolve the problems of integration into the value chains and remain profitable, farmers pass on the burden to the only flexible cost, labor. Specifically, one of the major strategies carried out by food producers in southern Lazio has been to decentralize labor management to labor contractors and use an ever-increasing informal, cheap, just-in-time labor force. Labor contracting and the use of a disposable labor force allows farmers to promptly respond to the rapidly changing requests coming from the big retailers. Mainstream accounts tend to conflate gangmaster activity with modern slavery and coercion, depicting gangmasters as unscrupulous people who take personal advantage of workers' vulnerability with the use of violence, threats, or intimidation. This oversimplified representation of gangmaster is not only a long way from reality. Labor contracting is a more complex and articulated phenomenon. But the oversimplified representation is above all a political construction used to depoliticize it. Sorry for the wordplay, but I think this is a very central point. These perspectives just see it as a social aberration. They contextualize labor contracting, describing it as an anomaly, a deviation from the current regular functioning of the economy. The slavery approach and the criminological focus continue to overlook the systemic relations of power and coercion. The proliferation of gangmaster practices is a result of the neoliberal restructuring of production, which plays a major role in the deepening of anti-labor practices. The neoliberal resurgence of gangmaster has been rooted in fundamental shifts in power and production.